Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everybody, I hope that you're doing well. Today we're going to work on Surah Al Shams, the sun, which is Surah 91. It is a surah made of 15 ayat. It was revealed in the city of Mecca. It is amongst the short surahs at the end of the Quran. And here almost all the verses and chapters were revealed in the city of Mecca at the beginning of the prophethood of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In his early era, the revelations were primarily concerned with the establishment of the faith and laid down the foundation of the beliefs of Islam. The central theme of Surah Al Shams is the choice between purifying or corrupting the soul, and the nation of Thamud is used as an example of the corruption. In Surah Al Shams, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains one of the innate qualities of humankind, the ability to choose between right and wrong. The fact that there are consequences for all our choices is demonstrated through the story of the people of Thamud, the nature of humankind, and their ability to choose between right and wrong and decide their own fate. Surah Al Shams is divided into two essential parts. The first part, from Ayah 1 to Ayah 10, we find the oaths of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by His divine creations. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to underline the fact that those who believe in Him and purify their soul will succeed, but those who persist in ignorance, they will fail. While in the second part, from Ayah 11 to Ayah 15, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the example of the people of Thamud who had revolted against the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by daring to kill the camel of Allah. The first part of Surah Al Shams deals with the oaths. There are 11 oaths. These represent a message as big as the heavens, the earth, the sun, and the moon. Let's talk a little bit about the oaths in the Quran. It has been said that these oaths are generally made for two reasons. The first one is to show the importance of the message for which the oaths are made, such as the purification of the soul in Surah Al Shams, and the second is to show the importance of the things on which the oaths are made, like the sun, the moon, the earth, in the case of Surah Al Shams. The first 10 verses of Surah Al Shams begin with divine oath on important elements of our universe, which attest to the greatness and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala: the sun, the moon, the day, the night, the sky, the earth, and the human soul. Its 7 elements testify to the uniqueness and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just as the sun and the moon, the day and the night, the earth and the sky are different from each other and contrary in their effects and their consequences, good and evil differ and are contrary in their effects and their consequences. They are not similar in appearance, and they cannot be similar in their results. These oaths include many elements intended to highlight the joyful and reassuring end of the believing and pious men and the failure of the ignorant who persist in their disbelief. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by the human soul that He has granted man all the necessary means to be able to distinguish between good and evil, between what is right and what is not, and that He will guide the human beings in case of error. Everyone therefore holds the reins of their existence. The large number of items on which God takes an oath is to note, because the larger this number is, the more important the thing announced, such as the answer of the oath, becomes. To this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala adds 3 times the oath on His own holy essence. So what is so important and what is such an important subject for which God takes such measures and on which he insists so much? And the answer is the necessity to purify the soul. So the necessity of purification of the soul. The salvation and success of man lies in the purification of the soul and its perfection. Whereas he who does not do this, who does not concern himself with the purification of his soul, who lets it be defiled or commits sins, will know only loss and perdition. This is the most important question for the individual because it is what will decide our future in this world and in the hereafter. In the Quran al-Karim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala insists on the fact that the success of man is not at the level of illusions or at the level of money, comfort, honors, or other things of this world. But success is linked to the purification of our soul, of its elevation, to the improvement in the shadow of faith and good deeds. After giving man his own physical ability and senses and mind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave him without the knowledge of the world. Rather, he instilled that is slowly building into his unconscious by means of natural aspirations, the ability to tell the right from the wrong and to feel that good is beautiful and the bad is ugly. So, having received from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the power of discernment and the power of will and judgment, the future of man depends on how he develops his inclination towards good and rids his ego of evil tendencies. If he develops an inclination to good and frees his ego from inclination to evil, he will achieve success in the hereafter. But if in the contrary, he suppresses the good and encourages the evil, he will encounter disappointment and failure. So after having highlighted this fundamental general truth, Al-Quran al-Karim gives an example, which is the people of Thamud. So what is their story and how does it relate to the issue discussed so far in Surah Al Shams? So in the second part, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cites the historical precedent of the people of Thamud. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes on the place and the importance of the role of the prophets. A messenger is sent to the world. Because the innate knowledge of good and evil that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in human nature is not enough in itself to guide men. Because of the human inability to understand this fact, man has come up with erroneous criteria and theories of good and evil. And he got lost in the process. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a clear and precise revelation to the prophets, peace and blessing be upon them. Their mission is to increase man's natural inclination towards good and to expose to people what is good and what is evil. And most of the time by giving examples. To demonstrate the failure of the disbelievers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cites the example of the people of Prophet Saleh, peace be upon him. The Prophet Saleh was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the people of Thamud to convert them to monotheism. They called him a liar and continued to practice their polytheistic worship. But these people, blinded by the evil of their ego, had become so rebellious that they rejected him. And when he performed in front of them the miracle of the camel that they had claimed, and despite the warning of the Prophet Saleh, peace be upon him, a camel had appeared as a miracle coming out of a rock. And the Prophet Saleh asked them not to harm her and to let her drink water every other day, or else they will suffer a terrible retribution. but the most miserable among them killed the camel according to the will and the desire of the whole people of Thamud. The entire tribe was hit by a huge earthquake that finished them off. So the example of the people of Thamud comes to warn all the obstinate who refuse to believe in the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His power. And through this example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala insists on the importance of the role of the prophets in that they transmit the religion to orient men towards the right path and to enable on His own to distinguish between good and evil. The people of Quraysh who rejected our Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the beginning, and it was the same conditions at the time of Mecca were like those created by the errants among the people of Thamud against the Prophet Saleh. Therefore, this story was sufficient to suggest to the Qurayshit, the Meccan people, how far this historical precedent could apply to them. So now I'm going to translate Surah Al Shams ayah by ayah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the specially merciful. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا, by the sun and its mid-morning, its radiating brightness. وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا, and to the moon when it follows the sun. وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَاهَا, and to the day when it displays the brightness of the sun. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا, and to the night when it covers it. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا, and to the sky and the one who built it. وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا طَحَاهَا, and to the earth and the one who spread it, extended it, and made it livable. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and by the soul and the one who designed it. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, then He inspired it, He inspired the soul, and its wickedness and its piety. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا, whoever had cleaned it, had cleaned his soul, his heart, had reached salvation. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا, and whoever had tried to cover it, covers his soul's vices, had not cleansed it, and had been a loss. In the first part, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by a number of celestial phenomena: the bright and radiant sun, the moon, the day when the sun's splendor is revealed, and the night that descends to shroud the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swearing by these objects gives them an added significance and draws our attention to their extraordinary nature and the magnificence of the one who created them. Allah's oath specifies the beauty of the sun when it rises, but also its effect on the earth when the day is revealed. Our familiarity with the sun sometimes allows us to overlook this magnificent phenomenon and its beauty and function, but this oath reminds us of the daily spectacle. The human heart has long felt a fascination with the moon, and on clear moonlight nights, one can feel the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the spaces around us. When the night descends, it can cover and conceal everything. The earth is quietly waiting for the splendor of the sun to reawaken it. Al-Quran al-Karim frequently urges humankind to ponder and reflect upon the universe. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to swear by the sky and how He constructed it, and by the earth on how He spread it out. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by the construction of the sky, we immediately think of the heavens above us. But we rarely know very little about the sky and how it was built. Even in this scientifically advanced century, we continue to wonder what keeps it going high above us, yet somehow solid. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the earth, it reminds us that life on this planet would not have been possible if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had not incorporated the characteristic and natural laws that make all this life possible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then swears by the soul and how He balanced the soul and refined it, giving it the knowledge of what is right for it and what is wrong for it. Humankind is one of the most remarkable wonders because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala molded and inspired each person with the knowledge of wickedness and piety and the ability to choose one over the other. Humankind has the innate ability to determine his or her own course of action and is thus responsible for each choice. Those who make the right choices will be successful, and those who choose to corrupt their pure soul will fail. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for His part, does not leave the person or soul alone, wandering blindly and trying to decide what is right. He has made the message clear for anyone who seeks to benefit from it. كَذَّبَتْ ثَمُودُ بِطَغْوَاهَا. The people of Thamud belied Allah's messenger because of their depravity. إِذِ انْبَعَثَ أَشْقَاهَا. When the most ungrateful of it in the city rose up to slaughter the camel. فَقَالَ لَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ نَاقَةَ اللَّهِ وَسُقْيَاهَا. Then Allah's messenger said to them that it is Allah's camel and give it water, comply with its turn of drinking. فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَعَقَرُوهَا فَدَمْدَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ بِذَنْبِهِمْ فَسَوَّاهَا. But they denied Him, then they slaughtered her, they slaughtered the camel. Their Lord covered them with torment for their sin, then leveled the city. وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقْبَاهَا. And Allah is not the one who fears its consequences. In the second part, from Ayah 11 to Ayah 15, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the people of Thamud. In these verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses a historical event for further explaining the previous verses. With arrogant cruelty, the people of Thamud called the Prophet Salih, who was chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be his messenger. They actually called him a liar and denied him. When the most richest person among them was sent out to hamstring the she-camel, the camel was a female, that had been sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a sign, the Prophet Salih told them not to harm her. He also told them to let the camel drink on the days that had been assigned to her. But the people of Thamud ignored him and then killed her without thinking about the consequences of their action. As a result of their outrageous insolence, a terrible calamity befell the people of Thamud. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed them by leveling them to the ground. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not fear consequences of anything He does. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like the kings or the rulers of the world, who when they want to take some action against a people are compelled to consider what the consequences of their action will be. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power is supreme. Humankind, however, should fear the consequences before the day of judgment is coming. And every person will answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the choices he or she made. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asked about what He does, but His servants will surely be asked to explain their actions. Surah Al Shams links the human soul to the celestial phenomena we experience on a regular basis. The sun rises, the moon comes out, The day reveals the earth in all its splendor, and the nighttime is able to cover and conceal. It is constant and repetitive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's laws that determine failure or success are also constant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala plans wisely and sets a time for everything and a purpose for every action. Wallahu a'lam. I hope this small explanation and translation of Surah Al Shams was helpful. I wish you the best. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bye bye.